Hello guys and welcome to this new episode. Today we're making a tier list, or more specifically we are updating the tier list we made pre-summer split, or pre-summer finals more specifically I think it was. So this was the old tier list. Obviously this is going to change a lot and I'm going to have two new additions, which is going to be Baron, and finally Cabrakan will be included because it kind of sucks that he's the only guardian that's not in the tier list. And pretty much, yeah, that's it. And I'm just going to explain this so everyone understands, because people always forget this. This is my personal opinion. I'm not trying to enforce this opinion down on anyone else. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine. You're probably right in some aspects, but this is my opinion. This is how I feel. If you want to argue about something, let's just have a good, a constructive debate in the chat and see if you can change my mind about something. That has happened quite a few times with like a god like Khumba. And yeah, I also want to mention there's some guards I won't include, which can definitely be played in support, such as like Erlang or Sun Wukong, or like even if you're more on the troll side, someone even plays like Merc, Nike, something like that. I'm not saying Nike support is troll, but like Fenrir support, I'm very bad at that. But I'm not going to include those guards because I haven't played them yet, and that basically means that I don't really have an understanding on how they work, and therefore I don't feel like my opinion is going to be valid. So this is the guards I have played, and this is the guys I have my opinion on. I have around 130 ranked games now in the last bit here, and I've pretty much exclusively played support. There's probably 5 games where I haven't played support. I'm Masters. I'm like top 20 right now, I think. Actually, I lost a lot of games today. Maybe I'm top 50 now on Masters. Grinding for GM. So yeah, this is gonna be the support tier list. We're just gonna start with adding the new guards, and then we're gonna go bottom and down and see how we're gonna rotate around the guards. So let's get to it. Baron Samedi is the first guard we gotta place, and this is the pre-fall split tier list. You can use this in ranked. You can probably also use this in competitive. This is gonna be one of the tier lists where I'll look a bit more to a competitive. This is just like a standard, I guess you can say. It kind of tries to like mix ranked and competitive. Okay, so it's like a good mix. This isn't exclusively SPL, this is exclusively ranked, this is just like standard, whatever you guys want to say. So Baron Samedi support, in my opinion, Baron Samedi is like arguably the most broken guard in the game right now. He's definitely up there with some of the other guards. There are a lot of guards right now that I think are insanely strong, but Baron is definitely one of them, and I think Baron is either played in the solo lane or as a support. The one thing you want with Baron is you want pressure. Without pressure, Baron kind of falls off a bit early game, because he actually has a really strong laning phase if you manage to abuse that and play it correctly. He kind of smacks some of the traditional pressure guards in the duo lane if you have a good ADC with you. So in my opinion, I'm just gonna go ahead and say Baron is probably just gonna be the best support, like by far. He just brings so much, like all of his abilities does so many things that high res you have to fucking scroll, so like you can make sure that you can read everything he does. His one reduces attack speed and power by 30%. That's already insane, and it does damage. That's like, if you look at like other support like damage abilities, it's usually just a stun or something, but this is just power reduction. Look at like Ganesha 1, it gives you like a power increase of 5%, and then you have like Baron Samedi's 3, it's like it does more damage and it gives like reduction. It's just better. Then you have Baron Samedi's 2, which is arguably one of the most broken things about him, is that, especially because he hits it so easily off his 3, and if you go Ymir off his slow on the 1, I think that's super strong. It cleanses, like it heals you, and then it heals you for 12.5 or 12.5% personally as well. It heals your team. It cleanses slows, and it gives you a 40% movement speed boost. Sprint has 20% movement speed boost on it. So you're basically getting a sprint that's twice as good, that cleanses slow. Baron Samedi in his kit has on a very low cooldown something that cleanses slows and gives you movement speed if they are, of course, hit by the Hysteria, but that just applies very easily. That's really strong. Then he has his 3, which is this ramp up to root thing, which is super strong, and if that full Hysteria, it spreads like I don't know, like Ebola did that time. It's just it's not fun. Okay, so and then that's his kit, right? And that's already really OP. And then you have his ult, and Baron Samedi's ult is 3.5 seconds of damage immunity. Or not immunity, but like CC immunity. And he has 35% damage mitigation. That's absolutely insane. 35% damage mitigation. That's so much. He's just standing there, sucking you into your grave, doing percentage damage, applying hysteria, sucking you in. It's like Hades ult, but on fucking steroids. And you can move while you're doing it. He's so broken. Like, it's insane. This card is nuts. And he's so good in support. And that's why he's S+, if not even SS. I think he's S+ because he might be slightly better in the solo lane. I don't know, but he's good, man. He's crazy. Alright. Moving on here. We got Cabrakan. Now, Cabrakan, in my opinion, has never been a support and probably will never be a support. He could be played in the support, but I don't know why you'd play Cabrakan in support, because he definitely fits the jungler bruiser or the solo lane style. And therefore, I just think Cabrakan might arguably be the worst support of the Guardians in the game right now, at least to play in the support role. His peel is very awkward. He's more of this engaged guard, but then you like, as a support, you kind of want to be around your carries with your auras, but you can't really do that with Cabrakan. Like, best case, you're gonna wall someone off from killing your backline, but then your backline can't do damage, so it's kind of vice versa. So Cabrakan, I don't know. I think he just fits there in C. Kind of sad. Also Arachne actually and Discordia could be supports, but I haven't really played them. Moving on, we're just gonna go bottom and down. So Cerberus, I put Cerberus in S+. I definitely overreacted a bit on Cerberus. This was mainly because Stone of Binding had a huge buff, and you definitely do carry a lot. This tier list was made specifically for ranked, and Cerberus is very, very good at carrying ranked games, but if we have to take it to a bit of a competitive aspect as well, I still think Cerberus is strong, but probably, like, we can place him as -, for now, and then we'll probably put him down, but he does a ton of damage. He's really good for carrying, has a great team fight ult. The prod thread is really well used with teams that can coordinate. The stun, if you're good at hitting it, does so much damage. Yeah. Moving on, Athena. Athena might be the only guard that can actually contest Baron, and I think she's right there up there with Baron. Athena is this insanely good guard that has, like, reach is really strong. Then she has the passive on 1 which block basic attacks, which is really strong. Her dash is like on such a low cooldown all the time. You have a taunt, which is probably the strongest form of CC of like on any Guardian at all. It's like the single strongest ability for like actually setting up for your team. Then you have your free, which does like 500. It's 570 base damage, right? 560, something like that. It's insane. Like, she clears jungle well. She's really good for level 1 pressure. She pressures so much around the map because people constantly need to like look out for your ult, right? Like, you're not gonna dive that solo laner if you know that, oh yeah, the Athena's gonna lower, especially in a competitive aspect. Athena is super strong because the split push potential you get also late game, where, well, if I'm playing Athena, I can just go to duo lane, and my team can just stand around FD, and they're gonna wait until someone comes over to try and contest me, because they're not gonna let me do something. And then I can just ult over, and we're gonna do something on the other side of the map. And Athena's like really, really, really strong in a 1v1 scenario. So you have to send over like your mage or your ADC, and even then Athena might be able to solo you. Like, Athena is not a god to joke with. She does a lot of damage with full cooldown reduction. She's super, super strong. Her ult is like insanely good. Like, it's so insane, her ult. It's like them team fight ults like Chernobog, Athena, like, even you can even mention Shibbolonki, that's just kind of a bad guard besides the ult, in my opinion. They're like so good in competitive, and also so good in ranked if your teammate has like some sort of insight on what to do. Sylvanus is S. And I think Sylvanus is really, really strong still. He has prod threat. He really benefits from Stone of Binding. He can build Lotus Crown, which is definitely favorable compared to Sovereignty and the Guardians that actually do benefit from Stone of Binding. I think Sylvanus is like... Honestly, Sylvanus might be like S, but for now I'm going to put him S-, and I'll actually put Serb A+, because Serb is not better than Sylvanus, although Serb does counter Sylv a bit. I think Sylv has a lot of push, which makes him really good in rank. He's slightly more countable in competitive aspects of the game, but he is definitely up there. You want early pressure right now. Early pressure is still good. You can still abuse it. However, I think we're swinging towards a bit of a more late game oriented meta, but we'll definitely see where it goes. So yeah, he's strong, definitely. So Cat got nerfed, and I think also her viability as support went down a lot, because what you really relied on with Cat support was your passive and exploding, like her passive and getting that 25% damage and like the true damage from her ult, which also kind of got nerfed early game. As a support, you're not really gonna hit level 20 or like level 17 relatively early, so you're gonna be running around with a low damage ult for a long time, and I think that really hurts the Cat also in a competitive aspect. So I'm gonna degrade the Cat to A. I think the changes that has been made to the Cat has mostly been to like put people to build a bit more damage on the Cat, because you can't really just solo someone now as you could before. You can build loners in the Cat, definitely, and still be super annoying and not die, as you're saying, but she's just not gonna do the damage, and that's your real threat as a Cat player, is that I can solo your ADC, therefore you need two people to make sure that I'm not gonna solo your ADC. So she's not strong in support anymore, in my opinion, not so strong at all. You can probably still snowball rank, that's one reason why she's not an A-. Gab is the next guard. Now, Gab for me he's pretty goddamn strong, and like one of the reasons obviously is Nasha is one of them guards right now that's almost always going to be in the game if it's not banned out, because Nasha is really strong right now, and his passive is super good against Nasha. We're seeing a lot of people are starting to build crit, even though some people build pen obviously, but a lot of people are building crit, at least in ranked. The passive works out super well. He has high mobility. The shield does really well against a lot of guys. Like, just look at the tier list right here. Like, Gab shield is really good against Baron. It's really good against Athena. It's not so good against Hel. It's not so good against Cabrakan. So like the guards that are meta right now are the guards that Gab does really well against. And I think in a rank, even in ranked, like Gab is super good. As soon as you have one player in the team that knows how to play Smite, Gab is super strong. You have blink gold initiates. You have like your 2. You have really high movement speed. His only really weak phase if you get caught out, or his laning phase. I think Gab is S. I think he's super strong right now, and I definitely think he belongs up there. Now there's Sobek. Sobek's always weird, because I always find Sobek to be very good when you pick him, but you don't really pick him that often in support. So to me, S-, sure. I think honestly he's gonna get degraded to A+, for the reasoning that I can't even come up with this. I just don't feel like he belongs in S-. I think he's more of an A+ guard. He is very strong in certain scenarios where you want to fight him, right? And I think that just kind of like makes him belong there, you know. So Sobek A+, I think that's fine. Now moving on, Amaterasu has gotten better with the reinforced changes. Amaterasu has gotten better with some of the other changes, especially meta-wise, where people are playing a lot more of Honda mid now, and you're seeing a lot of high mobility guards. Like even in the rank scene, Amaterasu is really good against guards like Bacchus or Loki, because you can kind of chase them down. So I think Amma is up in S- as a support. She's super strong if you want to get early pressure. She also does pretty goddamn well against some of the higher like level supports right now. As again, Amy is really good against like Gab, Athena, Baron, and Sylvanus. She actually does really well. Sylvanus and Amy is kind of a counter matchup, but these guards down here she doesn't do so well against, but they're not meta, so that makes Amy meta in my opinion. So yeah, I really like it. Fafnir. He's weird, right? Because Fafnir has just got nerfed, and Fafnir just got nerfed, and he's getting nerfed again, and then he gets nerfed a bit more, and he's still good. Like, Fafnir's still good. I still have an easy time carrying my ranked games with Fafnir, at least. He does so much work. His weak point is kind of like, obviously, his level 1. I think he's super strong at level 2. Then he falls off until it's level 5, and then you kind of have mana problems, but once you get your first few items online, he just peaks. Like, he is so good. And I think he belongs in S-. Pretty much. Like, he's just here, you know. He's just fat chilling. In competitive, he's super good as well. He really fits the meta right now. He's also really good if you want to bait a lot, like, and he can immune a lot of stuff, like on reaction. Like, you can immune the Gab ult, the Sylvanus blink ult, the Amy ult, the Baron ult. You can just ult, even if Athena dashes in, you can just try and hammer the dash and then start ulting. So it's really good. Hey Nim, can you ban these Daisy guy real fast? Just like for like a 7 days or something. All right. So I think Faf belongs in S minus. A plus. Also here's Nox. I think Nox stays in A plus. I think Nox is actually really, really good in certain scenarios. She's kind of the same as Sobek. She has her scenarios where Nox is super strong. She's definitely annoying. She's easy to carry with. She does a lot of damage. She's very, very safe in my opinion. If you're good at consistently landing the combo, that definitely helps out a lot. So I think Nox just stays in A plus. Terra for me is just insanely good. Like, she does really, really well against so many guards, and she counters so many. You have a guard like Freya right now that's really good. Terra's like really hard counter to Freya, especially in lane where you can absolutely farm her with Terra. Terra's passive is like what makes her so strong if utilized correctly. So yeah, I think Terra just kind of probably doesn't belong here. She's probably S minus, if not even S. I'm probably gonna say, oh god damn it, now throw off. I'll probably say S. In my opinion, she does a lot of damage. She has healing in her kit. She has like her ult is super strong if you play around the walls really well. And that's really when Terra, in my opinion, becomes S. When you know how to utilize the walls and utilize your passive, that's when Terra becomes like this insanely good guard. Because if you're an average Terra player, like, she takes a lot of skill to play at a high level, but she's relatively easy to learn. But if you know how to play at a really, really high level, Terra is this insanely good guard that's always going to be consistent. She works in any kind of team comp. She's always going to be good against like Susano, Sylvanus, Gab, Sobek. You have all these kind of guards where she just does really, really, really well. This is the tier list not done yet at all. For all you guys in chat wondering, I'm at Archer now, and I haven't touched most of these guards either. Archer, I put Archer in A plus. I don't think Archer belongs in A plus. I think she belongs in A. I think Archer is this very, very balanced guard right now that just does a lot early, and then she like falls off late super, super hard. It feels really hard to do anything late with Archer if you're even or behind. So in my opinion, she's A. She's really good in ranked, less good in competitive. She works in very specific situations, and she's not this guard like Sobek or Cerberus, which can kind of be picked into anything and do really well, but they also have these certain scenarios where they're just super, super strong. And I think that's kind of what Archer lacks. You can't just pick Archer and that's fine. Like, you have certain scenarios where you don't want to pick Archer. Then we have Nasha. Nasha's the last guard here that we gotta change from A plus. Nasha obviously has gotten a buff, and I think Nasha's stronger now. I think Nasha's probably S minus as a support. I still think Nasha's a better jungler, and that's why Nasha is not higher. But Nasha has insane early pressure. She's really good running around, being annoying. You can take out that important target. There's really guards right now where you want to isolate them. You have like a Sean Kui, you can Nash ult that guard. You have a Tough, you can kind of go in and just zone him out of the fight, like with your whole presence. Nasha does a lot of damage. She's really slippery slope, and it's kind of this Amaterasu playstyle, just in where Amy is just kind of running around. Nasha actually has the kill potential on you. In ranked, Nasha is like even better. In competitive, slightly less so, because people actually have experience playing against Nasha. But Nasha is really, really, really strong right now, and also in support. So I really like her. That was all for these guards. Now we're gonna move on to A. Bacchus. Now I put Bacchus in A. I don't think Bacchus belongs in A. I don't think Bacchus is very good right now. I think a lot of the guards that are meta right now do pretty well against Bacchus. Bacchus, in my opinion, just kind of lacks that extra little thing that makes him special. Like, you have his jump, which is a knock-up, which is good, but if I want the knock-up or something, I could just pick Sylvanus and Blink Gold, or Sobek, or like Cerberus, because that kind of works like a knock-up as well, and those guys are just going to be better. If you want a stun, like, you can kind of pick anyone else. If you want anti-healing, you're picking Cerberus or Sobek. If you want his ultimate, which, sure, his ult is the good part about him, and his passive prots and all that, like, he has really good setup, but there's other guards that does his job better. And if those guards weren't there, like guards like Sobek or Cerberus, or you can even compare someone like Sylvanus or like Athena, kind of the same playstyle. You're focusing one target and like pulling them in and trying to kill one guy. I think there's just or guards, not or goddesses, but there's just too many guards that does what Bacchus does, but does it better. So yeah, I don't know. I really like it. Definitely. Yeah. Like, I really like it. What am I even saying? I'm just confused now because I'm reading the chat. God damn it. Nym, it's alright. It was the right guy. Bacchus, A-. Pretty average, a bit below. Ganesha, the Ganush. Ganush is like the most average guardian, and I honestly don't think I can justify putting him in A anymore. His 2 is super strong, but at the same time, like, he just lacks anything he does well. Again, like, if I want protection threat, I'm gonna play Cerberus, I'm gonna play Nasha, I'm gonna play Fafnir. If I want silences, sure, that's kind of the only thing he's going for him, which a lot of other guards don't do. But then he doesn't have any form of CC besides his dash. And sure, he has the slow on his ult, but then he has his dash, but that's your dash, and as soon as you use that, you're super easy to kill. I don't think he is that good at all. Honestly, he's A-. He's not like B. He's pretty average. He's a bit below average in my opinion. He just needs something he does better than anyone. He has his moments where he's super strong against guards with a lot of channeled abilities, or guards with, like, you know, the Morrigan or something where he can arm her out in her invisibility or something like that. Ymir's up next, and I think Ymir stays in A. And this is also just this meta thing where a lot of the guards that are in the meta right now and do really well, they get kind of screwed up by Ymir's wall. And that's the main thing Ymir is going for him. He got a bit of a buff since we updated this tier list as well, which definitely helps him out. He has really good early pressure. So he's this guard that if you get ahead early, he's definitely going to be influential throughout the whole game. You can kind of pick him whenever now, because there's always like 1 guard or 2 guards you at least can wall off at the mid camps and try and get kills. Like, just look at this tier list here. You gotta go all the way down to Fafnir before you have a guard that can actually jump out. He works really well in pick comps, and yeah, exactly, he does really good, well against top mids, as Matt is saying in chat as well. You have like Tough, you have like Janus is really good against Ymir, but then you have like Tough, you have like Acne, you have like them kind of guards. He just does super well against those guards. And also the top ADCs right now, which are like magical ADCs, and then you have Artemis and Chernobog. So Chernobog can dash into the wall, but you can kind of play around that as well. So he does really well, Ymir. He's just A in my opinion. He still kind of lacks anything, but his wall makes him A. Achilles got nerfed into more of not a support. Like, he's more late game now. The only reason why you want to play Achilles support before was so you can frag in the early game. You can't really frag in the early game anymore. I don't think Achilles is a good support anymore at all. He's a soul laner. The only thing he really has going for him is like his execute and then his stun. Like, he's not like you need items for Achilles to work, and if you're playing support right now, you're not getting items. Sure, you're getting more XP than the last time we're doing this because it did the support XP change, so we'll get back to that with Hel, because I think Hel has gotten a lot better because of that. But I don't think he fits right now. Achilles. So yeah. Then there's Khepri. Now, the good old Kheppers. I honestly think Khepri goes up a bit. There's a lot of the guards right now in the meta are focused on single target burst damage, and there's not a lot of AoE guards in the meta right now. Should have like, you can hit more than one guy with the abilities. I'm thinking like Tough, I'm thinking like Artemis, I'm thinking like Freya, like those kind of guards which are super meta right now. Then there's Shong, which is like super AoE, but Shong's banned. Then Khepri's actually also really good into Shong because of his 2 and the way he kind of controls him. So I think Khepri is probably A+ in my opinion. He has a pretty solid laning phase. He does really good all around the game. He also had a buff since this last time. He now has protection on his 1. So I think Khepri is A+ in my mind. He's right under these guys like Sylvanus, Amy, Fafnir, and Nasha, which definitely are also super strong. Moving on, Khumba. This is a bit of a rough one for me, because personally I think Khumba is just A, but I could see an argument for putting Khumba in A+, but I'm gonna keep him in A. I think Khumba is a very average guard. Personally, I don't like him, but he does his job. My problem, which I've always argued with Khumba, is he's very predictable in what he's gonna do, and you can say that for any guard, but Khumba is it's a lot of channeling his abilities, and it's a lot of like, you can interrupt and predict what he's gonna do, which in my opinion makes him not so strong. But we're also seeing like a double Honda meta, something like that at least, where we saw that at the summer finals at least, where his mess actually does really well because he has attack speed reduction on that. So I think he's A if not A plus. I'm gonna keep him in A, but he's very telegraphed is a very good word again, Matt. But you need to be a really good combo player to make him work. But if you're a really good combo player, he's probably like A plus. I think average plus just A. He's not that good in ranked. He's like pretty average as well. And I think you put it really well, Emmy. Like either Khumba does absolutely nothing, or he just like rolls the game. And I think against competitive teams, you're not gonna let a Khumba do absolutely everything. So he's most likely just kind of gonna be a bit useless. But he still has his scenarios where he really shines. Guan was A because Guan got buffed, but then Guan got nerfed, and now Guan is kind of like, nah, his healing got nerfed, so down in B you go. He just gets interrupted too much, man. Like he struggles in support because he can't get the gold he needs to get the items online he needs. He really struggles for mana, he really struggles for protections, and he struggles for cooldown reductions. And like you want to get stuff, you want to get Genjis, and you want to get Spirit Robe, and that's when you're really going to start fracking on Guan. But I think it takes too long to get there. Guan's level 1 isn't the best. If you want a good level 1 pressure, you're not going to play Guan. And if you want, I think a guard you can compare to Sylvanus is, like to Guan is Sylvanus, right? Sylvanus kind of does the same thing, that he has this big ult that everyone kind of has to run away from. He has protection shred as well, Sylvanus, and he just has a heal. Sylvanus just kind of plays Guan's role in support, but he plays it better. Archer, thank you so much for the sub. I'll roll the notification after this video is over, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I think, yeah, I don't think Guan is that good. Then we have, well, that's kind of it, right? Because we talked about Zaket and Archer already. So moving on to Odin. In my opinion, Odin stays in A minus, and I think the main reason why Odin stays in A minus, in my opinion at least, is because he's very, very situational, and you're more likely to play Odin in the jungle or the solo lane. And just because Odin is so situational and he's so like you can pick Odin and it's always going to be okay. But there's very few scenarios right now, in my opinion at least, where you pick Odin and you think, oh yeah, this is just the best Odin game ever. And even if that comes to it, then you'd probably rather have an Odin in the solo lane or have an Odin in the jungle. So yeah, thanks for the bits as well, Archer. I really appreciate it. So I think Odin is probably still A minus. Usually I try and make my tier list kind of intentionally look like a pyramid, but I don't really think that's going to happen this time. But that's because there is like a very big spread right now between that. These guards right here are just really, really good, and these guards right here are just not that good, like compared to them. Thanks for the invite. That's really not cool. Stop that. So Odin stays in A minus, my opinion. I think you don't need early pressure and support, but you need to have the option to get early pressure. And if you want early pressure, Odin is not the way to go. And I think like he kind of just lacks that, you know. Like he's alright late game. He's pretty goddamn strong mid game, and in early game he's just kind of alright as well. He doesn't have like that super spike, you know. Like sure, you could say right before them in support he's level 12, he's good or whatever. So yeah, Ares is super interesting because Ares actually does pretty well against a lot of the guards that are meta right now. You're thinking guards like Toph, you're thinking guards like Athena. Probably not that good against a guard like Baron or something like that, but he does pretty well. Like you think Susano or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably still on, for me at least. You could upgrade him to A Ares because I think he's better than Bacchus and Ganesha. I think Ares is more consistent than Bacchus and Ganesha in the point that if you're going to pick an Ares in an average game, or like any game, and you're going into any game and you don't know the enemy's team comp, I would way rather have an Ares than I would have a Ganesha, or I would have a Bacchus on my team. And for that reason, I think you can put him in A. He has this really good ult, he's too super underrated, he has knock-up immunity, and I think knock-up immunity is actually one of the reasons as well why he belongs right here. And again, like Matt, you bring up so many good points, dude. Good shit. You should always be on this. Like, specific players are so good at playing Ares. Ares is one of them gods where you just need to practice super hard on Ares to say, yeah, I have a good Ares. Just like I practice super hard on Terra to say I have a good Terra. It's not like a god like Fafnir or like Athena where they're pretty goddamn straightforward in what to do, right? It actually takes a lot of skill and knowing the god and knowing your limits. So I think he's A for me. Yeah. Afro, I put Afro in A minus as a support. I'm kind of trolling. Afro's probably like, she could be B, and the only reason why I'm not gonna put her in C right now is because she has the XP changes are really gonna work in her favor, because the new support XP changes, that's gonna work well for her. But also we gotta remember that a lot of the healing items has actually been nerfed, which kind of works against Afro. There was a situation where I think she could have been really good with Lonos, but that doesn't really work anymore. I'm not taking in 516 in this right here. Was there really like any changes that affected supports at all? There was like the Talisman of Energy change, and that was kind of it for supports, right, in the patch notes. So I don't really think it matters. I think 515 is like, it's kind of the same as 516 for the support meta at least. Where would a Puck be? I need it's like, this is a support tier list. I don't think a Puck is like a very good like support in my opinion. So if you had to be a support, I mean, you could probably make it work and like be super cheesy with it, then he'd probably be like A or A plus or something like that. But nah. Sun Wukong, yeah, Sun Wukong is actually gonna be kind of potent as a support now. I played him for the first time like a year in support, and I was fracking, and now he's gonna get even better as a support. So that's I guess that's right. Erlang 4, huh? Yeah, like again, I said it at the start of the video. I'll say it again now. I only included the gods that I play enough to give my own personal opinion on it. I know that Erlang can be played in support. I know that 4 can be played in support. I know that like Dardis plays Acne the Scoria support, but like, that doesn't mean that I know how to play it, and therefore I can't rank it because I just don't play it. So these are the gods that actually have a bit of an understanding of how to play it and have played. So I think that's why I can say with confidence where I think they are. And I think Nike as well. Nike is definitely a support. If you want to play a support, that's fine, but I just haven't put in the time and effort to try Nike support. I've tried other supports like Hel or Nox or Amaterasu, like some of them gods where I spend a lot of time on those gods. Ares A. Moving on to Fenrir. Fenrir got buffed, but I also think that like Fenrir, like it's hard. Like he could probably stay in A minus because I think he's I don't know. It's so weird again. Like he actually does pretty well against like a lot of the guys that are met right now, but he's so very like, if you want to pick Fenrir support, you're gonna try and last pick it at least. You're not gonna first pick Fenrir support, and then it has to be a very good game. So he's kind of in the same boat as like Ganesha or Bacchus, where there's very specific scenarios where those cards are very, very well, and on an average basis, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't play it. I played red support like twice in the start of spring, and now it's fall, so it's too long ago for me to consider him. PBM fracked on Fenrir the other night. Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but I think he stays A minus in my opinion at least. Then you have Herc. Herc is like, if you want pressure in duo, man, like honestly, like I don't think he's A, but he's like the closest contestant here, honestly. Maybe like he's feeling pretty crispy, the Herc. Honestly, he feels pretty goddamn strong. Like with his basic attacks, they hurt, man. So yeah, not much to say. Just keep him A. The Kappa, the Kusenbo. Everyone loves the Kappa. He's actually gotten kind of buff since we made this tier list. I think it's like 5.9 last time we updated the tier list. 5.16 patch note was 1 hour and 40 minutes ago. You can probably find the what on HyperX TV Crowley. So Kusenbo, I just don't think he's a support again. Like, I don't think the guard is that bad, but I just don't think he's a support. You play Kusenbo jungle, you play Kusenbo solo, because Kusenbo is one of them guards that needs items and needs levels to do his job well. You're not gonna not damage a Kusenbo that's level 9 if you pop this 2, but you probably don't want to burst a soul lane that's level 12 and has fawns, if you get me. So I don't think Kusen was a good support, and therefore he probably stays in B. Xingqiang, same deal. I don't think Xingqiang is a support. He needs levels to actually be able to do what he does best, which is kind of stoning the ADCs. And if you're just on the level, you're just going to get killed. And that's kind of how it just plays out in support. I think he's more of a soul laner. Morrigan? I think Morrigan might be like A-. Just because, like, if you get really good, it's again, like, there's very specific scenarios where Morrigan support is going to be good. But when they are, like, they're actually pretty goddamn good. And I know someone like Rafa plays a really good Morrigan. You have other supports that kind of troll around with it, like Darius or something like that. It's really, really good pressure, Morrigan, actually. So I can see it. A-, call me crazy. I think it's alright. Kukulkan stays in B, and he stays in B because he's kind of the same as Achilles. Like, you pick Kukulkan for the level 1, but then he got nerfed where he can't like use his free anymore. When he transforms early on, he kind of falls off because you can't get the items you need to carry with Kukulkan. He just doesn't really work. He doesn't really work in the support role. And I think that leads us on to the last guard. One of my favorite guards. And bam, the climber. That's only 2 ranks, but still. Hel is good, man. Hel has gotten so much better. Hel has gotten so much better with the XP changes. Hel has plays so much better than the meta right now, where the meta has really slowed down, at least around the dual lane and around the mid lane. I think Hel is super strong. I think Hel is super undervalued. And this is me playing Hel in the perfect team comp. But Hel is so good if you draft around her that you can always say, I am not gonna lose the late game with Hel if my team comp is better than enemy. Then it doesn't matter if I'm 10k gold behind because I got farmed in the early game. I'm still gonna frag in the late game because I'm playing Hel, and the support XP changes is gonna make sure I'm not underleveled. Hel's biggest problems is, of course, first she gets absolutely fragged by certain guards, and then she just lacks health. Like, she just kind of dies, which kind of plays with that as well. More levels, more health. She's good. Hel is like, she's scary. If you can 5th pick Hel right now, and it's scary. Watch out, man. You guys might need to start banning Hel in the second banning phase again, because she's strong. She is super strong. You 5th pick Hel, you 4th pick Hel. You make sure you take some of the guards that does really good work against Hel off the board. You make sure you have tanky frontliners. You're kind of doing the same thing as Baron Samedi, just worse, in my opinion. She has a really good laning phase, Hel, actually. If you have a pressure ADC, Hel frags in laning phase. And I think she is super, super, super good, at least in my opinion. So, I don't know. I mean, I would even put her like higher, but I'm crazy. I know that. I always have this Hel set. Like, I'm biased as fuck because I just love playing Hel, you know. But A+, I like it. I think she does like when before Lonos got nerfed with like the healing thing, she was like really, really strong Hel. But now they kind of nerfed the healing on Lono, so kind of destroys that. But she does so many things against Hel. Like she does so many things. Like, you have her old demon, she has like power, she has protection, she have the healing, Lotus Crown, Genji's guards too, like the item pathing you can build on her, and like you're faster way to level 12 now as well with the support XP changes, because like that's when Hel really starts fracking. Once you get your Genji's guard, you get your Lotus Crown, you hit level 12, bam, you're good for the rest of the game. So yeah, exactly, like go watch that game right there in chat, go watch my Hel game. That is a ranked game, sure, but Hel fracks, like Hel absolutely frags. If you start snowballing with Hel is like one of the best guards you can snowball with, in my opinion. So yeah, like if as soon as you win a fight with Hel, there's no other support where you can just keep pressuring and keep pressuring and keep pressuring. There's no other support where you win a 5v3 and everyone is like stuck with super low health. You win a 5v5 and there are 3 people left and you can just start healing up and getting objectives. Hel is so good in those scenarios, and therefore I think Hel is A+. And this is going to be the tier list. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I'm pretty goddamn. I think these cards right here should be played, and these cards right here probably shouldn't be played, unless it's like very specific scenarios. So that's my, that's it. I explained Afro, right? I just said that I don't think she like works well. I think she just kind of gets tracked. Hel Ram is super strong as well. But like, if, of course, like I'm saying, Hel is only gonna work if you have a team comp build up around it. But if you have that, then you're not gonna pick a Jing Wei if you know that you want to play Hel, and you're not gonna play Hel if you know you have a Jing Wei, and that's why I think Hel is so good, because you can actually draft around it. This is a support tier list, Nexok Dan, and that's why Kukulkan is B. If this was a normal tier list, Kukulkan would probably be S- or A+, okay? But this is a support tier list, and that is why that Kukulkan is B. These are all the guards that I'm gonna involve, so all you guys just making funny comments, that's fine. If there's any questions, now's the time to ask, and I'll try and answer them. I'll see something. So as right now, we'll do like a 2-minute segment here, and I'm gonna end the video, and yeah. So I'm pretty happy. I think Baron is not really gonna get played in week 1 of SPL because he's just too strong. Hel and her, Helular, them kind of combos like super strong. No 4 on them. Are they not viable? It's just because they're not viable is because I haven't played them enough to give my opinion. I do think they can be played, but I haven't played them myself, and if I haven't played something myself, I don't want to give my opinion on it. What do you consider core support items for Hel? Lotus Crown and Genji's Guard. Last try. What did you say, Abimag? Why Athena not SS? You get relic or kills each second. No. You're not wrong, but I think Hel has Athena has counterplay. Especially in competitive, you can play around Athena very well, and that's why she's not SS. Like, she's not super broken. She's definitely up there though. Khumba Stoner Binding. Yes. Would Sun Wukong or Erlang work as a support right now? Yes, but I haven't played them, so I'm not going to include them. I'd recognize them probably around A- if I did include them. Can't wait to see the Worlds. Thank you. I'll be as a get support. You'll be my Artemis. I'll push them with my ult into your traps. No props. That sounds good. You think Athena's better than Baron? Maybe. Am I ready to frag as Hel in SPL? You know it. You know it's coming. So I'm gonna wrap up the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, I'm gonna end off with saying what I started off with saying. This is my personal opinion. I'm not trying to say this is what everyone should play, because I'm aware that people are not gonna be able to play Hel, and some people are maybe gonna be way better at playing Ganesha, and like Ganesha might be up here. But this is my opinion on what works right now. It's totally fine if you think something different. If you think I'm totally wrong about something, let's have a constructive debate about it and see if you can change my mind. Like, people change my mind about Khumba, so I think can definitely be done. So be nice, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, and press the bell. And until next time, everyone, peace out.